When it comes to rivalries in nature, the rivalry between sharks and crocodilians is very well studied and talked about. The same also applies to sharks and the many marine mammals which they regularly come across. But not that much is known about the different interactions between crocodilians and marine mammals, despite them sharing plenty of different habitats with each other. Still, to the surprise of many, a lot of different marine mammals end up interacting with crocodilians on a somewhat regular basis, whether it's river dolphins interacting with black caiman in the Amazon, or alligators and manatees laying side by side, and in some cases even saltwater crocodiles feeding on whale corpses. There's plenty of different examples of all of these amazing creatures interacting with each other, so let's once and for all expose what happens when these crocodilians and marine mammals do meet up. While they may no longer live side by side, for most of human history, pinnipeds and crocodilians would have been found within the same habitat. Primarily in the Caribbean, where the Caribbean monk seal would have existed all the way up until 1950. Prior to their extinction, these creatures weren't just hunted by humans and sharks, but also most likely by crocodilians as well. Primarily the American crocodile, which is known for entering into saltwater habitats in order to feed. While smaller individuals wouldn't have been able to take out these seals, larger males likely would have been able to consume these seals with relative ease. Yet, due to their incredibly high mobility and their large size, they likely wouldn't have been a regular staple of the American crocodile's diet. After all, they are opportunistic predators and tend to prefer easier prey. Still, despite the lack of documentation, such instances of American crocodiles preying upon pinnipeds would have likely occurred not just in the Caribbean, but also in the Pacific until very recently. Historical accounts by both natives and American colonizers do report American crocodiles, some possibly getting up to 5 meters long, preying upon Baja's California sea lion population. In spite of the waters in this area being much colder, the American crocodile still would have been able to have inhabited its coastline, at least until we hunted them to extinction. Since they lived along the coast, they would have had to primarily have preyed upon marine prey. So even with the challenge it would pose, the American crocodile likely would have still preyed upon some of Baja's smaller, weaker California sea lions. Yet they would have been no match for the 700-pound bull California sea lions that ruled over these colonies. They also would have been no match for the absolutely terrifying giant elephant seals which would have inhabited Baja during the American crocodile's reign. Again, pinnipeds are far from the only marine mammals which American crocodiles have been reported interacting with. Even in modern times, the American crocodile, along with other crocodilian species, still regularly comes across another marine mammal, one which is larger and even more adorable. That being the incredibly iconic manatee, also known as the sea cow. As they regularly travel in and out of both fresh and salt water, they don't just interact with the American crocodile throughout their range, but they also regularly interact with the American alligator and occasionally some other caiman and crocodile species. As most people already know, the manatee is essentially the capybara of the aquatic world, as they get along with pretty much anything and everything, including both alligators and crocodiles. Overall, manatees are way too large and dense for any crocodilian to see them as a worthwhile meal, and for that reason, manatees really don't fear these scaly reptiles. In some cases, they will even go out of their way to interact with them out of curiosity or to feed on the algae that grows on their tails. In a lot of ways, especially in the springs where these manatees would interact with alligators on a regular basis, it's actually the manatees that are bothering the alligators, not the other way around. There's even a few videos of younger manatees trying to play with these alligators, which instead of resulting in the alligators' retaliation, usually just leads to them leaving the area as they simply don't want to be bothered by these gentle giants. But they aren't the only marine mammals these crocodilians share their habitat with. They also regularly come across another marine mammal, the bottlenose dolphin. Unlike other species of dolphin, the bottlenose dolphin will occasionally go inland in order to feed. This of course leads to them traveling into habitats where both American alligators and American crocodiles live, but surprisingly neither species has ever been observed engaging in combat with each other. But that doesn't mean they like each other. Dolphins normally avoid crocodilians as they could still be a threat, and they will both compete with each other for food. While very rarely observed, Dolphins and alligators have been reported not feeding on each other, but instead feeding side by side, with the alligators likely trying to take advantage of the dolphins' much more skilled feeding habits. For example, the creation of bubble nets, which help to trap large schools of fish, aren't just great for the dolphins, but they're also the perfect opportunity for an alligator to swoop in and try to get a mouthful. This sort of friendly competition with each other doesn't carry over to all crocodilian and dolphin species. In the Amazon, the Amazonian river dolphin and the black caiman have a much more complicated relationship. Before I talk about that, if you're enjoying this video so far, you know what to do. Please like, subscribe, all that blah blah blah, as YouTube is my main source of income, and anything that helps the algorithm is going to help me make more videos in the future. Now, if you do not do those things, I'll make sure you get eaten by a black caiman, just like this unfortunate river dolphin. Yes, believe it or not, black caimans will actually eat river dolphins. Unlike the American alligator, the black caiman is much larger and more agile in the water. This allows for them to take out much larger aquatic prey, including arapaimas, anacondas, and even occasionally river dolphins. Not just do black caiman go after river dolphin calves, but they'll also even go after adults, with adult river dolphins being found to have scarring, matching up perfectly with the teeth of black caiman. Still, every so often these dolphins will harass younger, smaller black caimans and other smaller caiman species, as they still share their playful yet vengeful nature with their oceanic cousins. Similar to many dolphin species that live out at sea, which are known for driving away sharks and even killing them on the occasion, the river dolphins do something very similar with the caimans that they share their habitat with. Even though smaller caimans aren't a threat to these dolphins, as they still see them as a threat and competition, some individuals will harass, mob, and in rare cases even kill these caimans. Yet they won't eat them, as cetaceans tend to be very picky eaters. This is in huge contrast to most crocodilian species, which will eat almost anything. Even though American alligators don't actively hunt dolphins, they've still been reported scavenging on them, and I'm sure most other crocodilian species have or will, if given the opportunity, do the same. The main crocodilian species which does have this opportunity is the saltwater crocodile. As their name suggests, the saltwater crocodile is more than capable of spending weeks on end out at sea. It also happens to be the largest modern-day crocodilian, making it one of the only crocodilian species capable of taking down fully grown marine mammals. And to my surprise, it's actually very uncommon for saltwater crocodiles to do so. In spite of their large size and highly aggressive nature, these crocodiles tend to prefer much slower, easier prey, such as sharks and sea turtles, when they are in these marine habitats. Yet that still hasn't prevented scientists from finding both dolphin and dugong remains inside of their stomachs. While reports are also rare, there have also been claims of people directly observing saltwater crocodiles attacking dolphins, yet no footage of this behavior exists, at least not in any sort of widely available media. But what does exist is footage of these crocodiles feeding on an even larger marine mammal, one which could be up to 10 times their size. Yes, believe it or not, just like sharks, these saltwater crocodiles will travel for miles on end in order to feed on whale corpses, both in rivers and out at sea. In some cases, they have even been found feeding alongside other even larger sharks. Yet, as there's so much whale meat for both of these predators to feed upon, inter- and intra-species conflicts over whale corpses are extremely rare. Still, in modern day, no crocodilian is capable of taking out a baleen whale in any stage of its life, not even if the whale was just a calf in most cases. But going off of fossil evidence, these saltwater crocs would have, and likely still do, prey upon fully grown dugongs, though it is probably not a common occurrence. Also, even though no modern-day crocodilian is capable of taking out a full-grown whale, some of the crocodilians of the past certainly would have been more than capable of doing so. It's also very likely that at least one species of prehistoric mammal would have likely preyed on some crocodilian species in the past. What matters is that we try to continue to preserve what incredibly amazing marine mammal and crocodilian species we still have left. Overall, there's so much more waiting to be discovered in both of these groups of animals and the sorts of interactions that they might have with each other. Now I try to make animal mini documentaries every single week, and YouTube is my main source of income. So please, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, maybe leave a nice comment, and I'll hopefully see you real soon. Goodbye.